There's something magical about the PlayStation 1 era. Even just hearing that classic start-up sound brings back a flood of memories, not just for me, but for many others. But what is it about PS1 games that makes them feel so nostalgic even decades later? Well, a lot of it is simply the passage of time. There are deeper reasons why these games continue to hold a special place in people's hearts. The PlayStation 1 was one of the first consoles to bring fully 3D worlds to life, and while its graphics might look outdated by today's standards, there's something about that rough, pixelated style that has a unique charm to it. Low poly models, blurry textures, and the occasional graphical glitch gave PS1 games a distinctive aesthetic that feels different from any other generation. The characters' faces also look terrifying. Seriously, Hagrid's face is the stuff of nightmares. Because developers were still learning how to work with 3D, every game had a unique visual style, making them more memorable. The PS1's audio had its own character. Because of hardware limitations, voice acting and music had a slightly compressed sound that, strangely enough, added to the atmosphere. Games like Metal Gear Solid, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro the Dragon had unforgettable soundtracks that are still loved today by many. The mix of catchy melodies and experimental sound design made sure that these tunes stayed in our heads long after we stopped playing. The PS1 era was a time of experimentation. Developers were pushing boundaries and creating new genres, leading to groundbreaking titles like Metal Gear Solid, which popularized the stealth genre, and games like Ape Escape, which introduced dual analog stick controls. At the time, developers weren't sure how to implement dual analog stick controls, so going back and playing something like Ape Escape reminds you just how far we've come. Games weren't afraid to take risks, and that sense of innovation made every new title feel exciting and fresh. This was a time when gaming was evolving rapidly and players got to experience that evolution firsthand. Part of what makes PS1 games so nostalgic isn't just the games themselves, but how we played them. Many of us, such as myself, remember renting games from video stores. I swear, renting a game was always a gamble. Would it work, or would the scratches make your PlayStation sound like a dying lawnmower? One of the earliest games I remember renting was a game called Peter Pan Adventures Neverland, and also Sheepdog and Wolf at the age of like 5 or 6. These were fun games, even though I was scared of getting caught by the dog in Sheepdog and Wolf, so I would just run around the level and do nothing. I also have fond memories of playing Harry Potter, and I don't know what it was, but that game really creeped me out for some reason. There was just something so dark and unsettling about the halls of Hogwarts Castle in that game, and it always had me feeling uneasy as a kid. Playing demo discs was also extremely fun too, and it was a good way to find out about new games. There were no internet guides or YouTube walkthroughs. If you got stuck, you either figured it out yourself or asked a friend, or throw a tantrum instead. This sense of discovery made games feel more immersive, mysterious, and rewarding. Unlike modern games that require patches, updates, and internet connections, PS1 games were simple. Just pop in a disc and play. There were no microtransactions, no season passes, and no complicated tutorials. Unlike modern gaming, where you buy a disc just to download 50 gigabytes of updates, back then you jump straight into the action. This simplicity made games more accessible and allowed players to focus purely on having fun. So why are PS1 games so nostalgic? It's a mix of their unique graphical style, unforgettable soundtracks, innovative gameplay, and the memories we made while playing them as kids. They remind us of a time when gaming was simpler and full of wonder. But what about you? Which PS1 game gives you the strongest feeling of nostalgia? For me, it's Spider-Man. I played it so much as a kid when I was like 6 years old. I loved the voice acting, the characters, and the gameplay. It was just a really fun experience. The fog under the sea added a layer of mystery for me because at the time I wasn't old enough to understand why it was there in the first place. I also remember playing Silent Hill briefly as a kid and being terrified of the fog and its eerie atmosphere. You could argue that the fog was just a technical limitation, but it worked perfectly to create a creepy, unsettling vibe. Even as gaming continues to evolve, there's something timeless about the PS1 era. Its games might be rough around the edges, but that's exactly what makes them special. Even with their flaws and all, they still capture our imagination decades later. The way we play games might have changed, but the sense of excitement and discovery we felt back then never truly fades. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, it really helps out, and if you have any nostalgic PS1 memories, drop them in the comments. I love to hear them. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.